Cross record was 350 acres when I took over in '61, but I recently added another 150 acres to it, so now we're 500 acres. From 1961, when I employed my first chap to help me at £8 a week, and he had to work on Saturday mornings at that. We now probably over all our businesses employ about 140 people. The products we produce are quite diverse, I suppose. We provide accommodation. You could almost call that a product. Certainly on our dairy unit, we produce milk from there, and also the barren cows go for beef, so there's more production there. Our poultry unit, well, obviously it produces 300 tonne of chicken every 6 weeks down there, and also we produce our energy as well. So yeah, it's quite diverse, the number of products that we produce. It's a lovely, steady business. It's continuous. We have a new crop every 6 weeks, and I could see that people were doing quite well business-wise out of the poultry business, so I decided that we would have a go for ourselves. I thought there was a market for clear span poultry buildings rather than the traditional wooden frame with a lot of wooden posts inside. We applied for planning permission, and that took a long time. It took about 3 years, but we eventually got planning consent, and we built our own 140,000 bird broiler unit on the farm. But if you're deciding to go into poultry production, the first thing you've got to do is line yourself up with a processor, somebody to buy your finished product. But we also utilise a good quantity of our wheat, because we blend this in with the feed, so it's a good source, a good outlet for the wheat that we produce. Because there was so much interest in green energy, being asked by the government to produce more and more of it, we've got a gasification plant. Now what we do, we take in waste wood, sort of pallets and packing cases, this sort of timber, then it goes into a gasifier. Now the gasifier operates at about 800 degrees, and it doesn't burn it. It's so hot that it turns it into gas. Obviously the engines create a lot of heat in the water, around the water jacket. We use this heat to dry our fuel, but we also use it to heat our poultry buildings, and we recently installed a dryer so that we're going to use the waste heat to dry our cow slurry. This we intend initially to still use as fertilizer, but the next project really is to bag this up and sell it as garden fertilizer in garden centres. We've had to prioritise where we spent our capital, but we did have surrounding the house a number of old traditional stone buildings which were very dilapidated. We thought that this was an asset which we could turn into some cash for us. Over the last 7 or 8 years, we managed to turn all the old traditional buildings into 12 lots of accommodation. I'd like to think I'm progressive, and I'm usually looking for the next thing before I finish the last thing. You've got to be enthusiastic. If you're not going to put 110% in, don't start, because you've got to make it work, and you've got to be persistent at it as well. I mean, probably one of the biggest problems that we've had, yes, it's been a problem, is planning permission all the time, because most of what we've done, we've needed planning permission.